the Tema Motorway stands as one of the greatest symbols of Ghana's march into modernity, a bold piece of infrastructure that has defined national life for more than half a century. Conceived during the ambitious era of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in the early 1960s, the motorway was more than just a stretch of tar and concrete connecting Accra to Tema. It was a national project built on vision, pride, and the promise of a newly independent Ghana. Nkrumah imagined Ghana as the industrial hub of West Africa, and Tema Harbor, with its modern port facilities, was to be the beating heart of that dream. To feed that heart, a highway was required, something faster and more advanced than ordinary roads, a road that would move goods, services, and people seamlessly between Tema and the capital city. When it was completed and commissioned in 1965, the Tema Motorway was a marvel, not just in Ghana, but in the entire sub-region. Stretching approximately 19 kilometers from the industrial port city of Tema to Accra, the motorway became the first of its kind in West Africa. It was a bold declaration that Ghana was prepared to lead the continent into the modern age. For decades, it carried the hopes of traders, commuters, farmers, industrialists, and foreign investors alike. But as time would prove, this vital artery was not immune to the pressures of urban growth, economic expansion, and the weight of millions of vehicles over the years. The motorway became both a lifeline and a struggle. Over the decades, as Ghana's population expanded rapidly and traffic volumes increased, the motorway aged faster than expected. For many, it was still a symbol of pride, but it was also a daily reminder of the challenges of development. Potholes widened into craters, congestion became unbearable, and safety concerns escalated. For businesses and commuters, the motorway became a bottleneck rather than a highway. Yet, through all the frustrations, the motorway retained its significance, for it was, and remains, the single most important stretch of road in Ghana's transport network. The need for expansion, rehabilitation, and modernisation grew louder in the public discourse. Citizens demanded better roads, and businesses lobbied for infrastructure that could keep pace with the demands of trade and commerce. At the same time, Ghana was positioning itself as a key player in continental trade. With the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA Secretariat headquartered in Accra, the motorway was no longer just a domestic road. It was a continental trade corridor. Modernisation was no longer optional. It was urgent. It was under the leadership of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa, Akufo-Addo, during his tenure as President of Ghana under the new Patriotic Party NPP government, that the Tema Motorway Expansion Project was formally launched. The Akufo-Addo administration recognised that Ghana could not achieve its economic and industrialisation agenda with a 1960s road in the 21st century. Expansion was a must. This was not merely about filling potholes or patching asphalt. It was about redesigning an economic artery for the future. The plan was to transform the motorway from its aging two-lane dual carriageway into a modern multi-lane highway, equipped with service roads, interchanges, pedestrian facilities, advanced lighting, and proper drainage systems. The dream was to reimagine the motorway as a smart, safe, and efficient highway, befitting Ghana's status as a rising economic power. The reasons for expansion were clear. Accra's population had exploded, spilling into peri-urban areas and creating a daily surge of traffic far beyond what the motorway was originally designed to handle. Tema Harbor, now one of the busiest ports in West Africa, had also expanded significantly, handling over 80% of Ghana's imports and exports. Every day, thousands of heavy trucks, buses, and smaller vehicles plied the motorway, turning it into a dangerously congested and overworked corridor. Safety concerns mounted, as accidents became frequent due to the deteriorating road surface, poor lighting, and lack of pedestrian facilities. For many years, the motorway claimed lives and damaged property, while also slowing the economic heartbeat of the nation. For the Akufo-Addo government, the motorway expansion was about more than easing congestion. It was about aligning Ghana's infrastructure with its economic ambitions. The project was positioned as a cornerstone of Ghana's broader development strategy, directly linked to its goals under the Big Push agenda, industrial growth, and African Continental Free Trade Area integration. By expanding and modernizing the motorway, Ghana would not only improve domestic transport, but also cement its role as a logistical hub for West Africa. Funding for the expansion required innovation and strategic thinking. Recognizing the magnitude of the project, the government pursued a public-private partnership, PPP model, drawing in both domestic and international investors. This model was designed to combine the expertise and resources of the private sector with the oversight and direction of government, ensuring that the project would not only be built, but also maintained to world-class standards. Development banks, infrastructure funds, and engineering companies expressed interest, underscoring the project's significance. By leveraging such financing, Ghana avoided overburdening its public finances while guaranteeing long-term sustainability. The design and engineering features of the expansion were ambitious. Instead of a patchwork of repairs, the project envisioned a complete transformation. Additional lanes to handle increased capacity, modern interchanges to eliminate dangerous U-turns, well-designed pedestrian overpasses to protect lives, and proper lighting to ensure safety at night. Drainage systems would be improved to prevent flooding, and the road would be built to accommodate heavy trucks and buses that form the lifeblood of Ghana's commerce. Simply put, this was not just a road project, it was an economic blueprint. The benefits of the Tema Motorway expansion are immense. Commuters will save hours of travel time, boosting productivity and quality of life. Businesses will cut transportation costs, making goods more competitive and affordable. Safety improvements will save lives and reduce the burden on healthcare systems. Job creation during and after construction will empower thousands of Ghanaians with income and skills. More importantly, the expansion will position Ghana as the gateway to West Africa, fully capable of taking advantage of regional and continental trade under AfCFTA. The economic ripple effects extend beyond transportation. By improving efficiency at Tema Harbor and the connection to Accra, the project will enhance Ghana's attractiveness to investors. Manufacturers, logistics companies, and exporters will find Ghana more competitive, creating a multiplier effect in job creation and industrial growth. Farmers will also benefit, as produce can be moved more quickly and reliably to markets in Accra and beyond. Tourism will thrive as visitors encounter a modern, safe, and efficient transport network. For the people of Ghana, the motorway is not just a piece of infrastructure. It is a national symbol, a daily reality, and now, a promise of transformation. As the expansion progresses, it reconnects the nation to the original vision of Nkrumah, while aligning with the aspirations of a 21st century Ghana. This project is both a legacy of the past and a foundation for the future. The Tema Motorway Expansion Project is a story of resilience, renewal, and readiness. Resilience in the sense that despite decades of wear, the motorway continues to carry the nation. Renewal because the expansion breathes new life into an old dream. And readiness because Ghana is positioning itself not just as a participant, but as a leader in Africa's economic transformation. The story of the Tema Motorway is not only one of early pride and vision, but also of decades of neglect, struggle, and eventual renewal. Like many pieces of infrastructure in post-independence Africa, it carried the burden of progress without always receiving the maintenance it required. For more than 50 years, the motorway endured the unrelenting weight of traffic, the battering of tropical rains, and the constant expansion of Ghana's economy. Yet for decades, major rehabilitation was minimal. This neglect led to a slow but steady decline that millions of commuters came to know all too well. By the 1980s and 1990s, potholes had started to dominate the motorway's surface. The sleek road that once symbolized modern Ghana had begun to break apart under pressure. Trucks carrying heavy loads from Tema Harbor to Accra and beyond weakened its foundation. With no proper expansion joints and limited drainage, water seeped into the concrete, accelerating cracks. Instead of periodic reconstruction, successive governments often resorted to patchwork solutions, quick fixes that never lasted. Drivers grew accustomed to sudden bumps and craters, while accidents became all too common. The motorway, designed to carry a fraction of the traffic it was now handling, could no longer cope. Daily traffic jams stretched for kilometers, particularly during peak hours. Trucks, buses, and private cars fought for space on the narrow two-lane road, often leading to breakdowns, accidents, and endless frustration. What was meant to save time had become a choke point, draining productivity from the national economy. For traders and transport operators, each delay meant financial loss. For workers, it meant hours wasted in traffic instead of contributing to the economy or spending time with family. For international investors, it signalled a glaring weakness in Ghana's infrastructure system. Despite these challenges, the motorway remained indispensable. Its importance only grew as Tema Harbor expanded into one of the busiest ports in West Africa. Handling more than 80% of Ghana's imports and exports, the harbour relied on the motorway as its main link to the capital and to the rest of the country. Container trucks rolled day and night, carrying goods destined not only for Ghana, but also for landlocked countries such as Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Each additional truck, each ton of cargo, placed new stress on the road. The expansion of Tema Harbor itself was a turning point. With billions invested in upgrading port facilities, it became clear that a modern port required a modern highway. Otherwise, the efficiency of the harbour would be wasted as goods sat stranded in traffic jams on the motorway. This realisation intensified calls for expansion. Business associations, industry leaders, and international trade partners urged the government to act. The voices of ordinary citizens joined in, demanding safety and convenience. Civil society organisations highlighted the human cost, pointing to frequent accidents that claimed lives and livelihoods. It was against this backdrop that the administration of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo stepped forward with a bold plan. Recognising the motorway as an essential artery for both national and regional trade, the Akufo-Addo government prioritised its expansion. The project was framed not as an isolated road repair, but as part of a larger strategy of economic transformation. It was about aligning Ghana's infrastructure with its industrial goals, its role in AfCFTA, and its ambition to become a gateway to West Africa. The political will was clear. The government declared that the old motorway could no longer serve the needs of a 21st century Ghana. Expansion was not a political favour, but a national necessity. The narrative was simple yet powerful. The motorway had carried Ghana's growth for decades. Now, Ghana must carry the motorway into the future. By linking this project to larger national policies, including industrialisation, logistics modernisation and job creation, the government built widespread support. Yet vision alone was not enough. A project of such scale required significant funding, and Ghana's public finances could not shoulder the cost alone. The solution was to adopt innovative financing strategies that drew in both local and international partners. The motorway expansion became a flagship example of public-private partnership, PPP, in Ghana's infrastructure space. Under the PPPP model, private investors would provide financing, expertise, and, in some cases, long-term maintenance, while government would provide regulatory oversight, land, and policy support. This model spread the financial risk, ensured sustainability, and guaranteed that the motorway would not fall back into neglect after completion. Development banks such as the African Development Bank, AfDB, and international infrastructure funds expressed strong interest, seeing the motorway as a project with regional significance. Construction and engineering firms from Ghana and abroad also stepped in, bringing world-class experience in road building, smart highway systems, and maintenance solutions. The funding framework was designed to ensure that the motorway expansion would not be a one-time facelift, but a long-term investment. Options were explored for tolling systems, electronic monitoring, and modern maintenance contracts that would guarantee consistent quality over decades. This marked a sharp departure from the past, when short-term contracts often led to temporary repairs that quickly deteriorated. At the same time, the government emphasized transparency and accountability. Recognizing the importance of public trust, it made clear that the motorway would remain a national asset, serving the people and businesses of Ghana. Regular updates, consultations with stakeholders, and parliamentary oversight were all part of the framework to ensure success. In practical terms, the expansion was designed to transform the motorway into a multi-lane dual carriageway with modern interchanges at key junctions. Dangerous U-turns would be eliminated, replaced by structured entry and exit points. Pedestrian bridges would be added to protect lives, while street lighting would ensure visibility at night. Advanced drainage systems would reduce flooding and erosion, making the road durable even under heavy rains. Safety features such as crash barriers, signage, and intelligent traffic management systems would make the motorway one of the safest in the region. The scale of ambition was clear. The Tema Motorway was to be reborn, not as a relic of the 1960s, but as a showcase of 21st century Ghanaian resilience and vision. For the people, the benefits of this project were not abstract. They were immediate and practical. Commuters envisioned shorter travel times, allowing them to reach work, school, or home more quickly. Traders expected smoother transport of goods, reducing spoilage and increasing profit margins. Businesses foresaw lower operational costs, making Ghanaian products more competitive in regional and global markets. And for every citizen, the knowledge that lives would be saved through improved safety was a source of collective relief. The economic benefits extended further. With Tema Harbor becoming more efficient, Ghana's role as a trade hub for West Africa would be strengthened. Exports would move faster, imports would reach markets more quickly, and landlocked neighbours would rely even more on Ghana's infrastructure for their trade. The motorway, therefore, was not just about Ghana. It was about positioning the nation as a vital gateway for the entire sub-region. Beyond economics, the motorway expansion also had significant social benefits. Construction created thousands of jobs, from engineers and technicians to drivers, artisans, and local suppliers. Communities along the route benefited from new opportunities, while the skills gained by workers would last beyond the project itself. By linking infrastructure to human development, the project contributed not only to Ghana's economy, but also to the empowerment of its people. At its heart, the Motorway Expansion Project became a story of renewal, a renewal of Nkrumah's original vision, a renewal of public confidence in Ghana's infrastructure, and a renewal of hope that Ghana's development path is on course. Where once potholes symbolised neglect, now construction cranes and heavy machinery symbolise progress. Where once commuters despaired in traffic, now they look forward to smoother journeys. And where once the motorway stood as a proud yet crumbling relic, now it is being reborn as a corridor of opportunity. The political leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will be remembered in part for this decision. In choosing to expand and modernise the motorway, his government tied its legacy to one of the most important national assets in Ghana. For generations to come, when vehicles move swiftly along the modernised motorway, when goods reach markets faster, when lives are saved through safer design, the decision to expand will stand as a milestone in Ghana's journey toward prosperity. The transformation of the Tema Motorway is not only about repairing what is broken, it is about reimagining a critical artery to serve Ghana and West Africa for generations to come. Expansion in this context means more than extra lanes. It is about applying modern engineering standards, safety measures, and smart design principles that match Ghana's ambitions as a rising economic power. From the beginning, engineers and planners approached the motorway expansion with one goal: to build a road that could carry the weight of Ghana's future. That meant designing for efficiency, durability, and safety. The motorway would no longer be a relic of 1960s design. It would embody the standards of a modern highway system capable of handling the demands of the 21st century. At the core of the engineering plan was the widening of the motorway. The original dual carriageway, with a limited number of lanes, was simply inadequate for current traffic volumes. Expansion would create multiple lanes in both directions, ensuring smooth flow even during peak hours. Service roads would be constructed alongside the main carriageway, providing access for local traffic without interfering with long-distance travel. This separation of flows was crucial, as it reduced congestion and minimised accident risks. Another critical feature of the expansion was the construction of modern interchanges at key junctions. For decades, the motorway had been plagued by dangerous U-turns and chaotic intersections that caused frequent accidents and delays. Interchanges would eliminate these hazards, allowing vehicles to enter and exit the motorway safely and efficiently. Each interchange was designed not only to improve traffic flow, but also to serve as a hub for future urban development, opening opportunities for business parks, logistics centres, and residential growth around Accra and Tema. Pedestrian safety, often neglected in the past, was placed at the heart of the design. Overhead, pedestrian bridges would be constructed at key points, giving safe crossing options to thousands of commuters who previously risked their lives dodging speeding vehicles. These bridges symbolised a shift in thinking. The motorway was not just for cars and trucks, but for people, and people's lives mattered most. Lighting was another major feature. For years, the motorway had been shrouded in darkness at night, creating ideal conditions for accidents and crime. The new motorway would be fitted with modern LED lighting, powered by efficient energy systems. This would not only enhance safety, but also create a visually modern corridor that symbolised progress. The glow of streetlights along the motorway at night would stand as a testament to Ghana's journey toward modernisation. Drainage, often an overlooked but vital aspect of road design, was given careful attention. In the past, heavy rains frequently damaged sections of the motorway, eroding shoulders and creating potholes. Flooding not only weakened the road but also trapped vehicles, compounding congestion. The expansion project introduced advanced drainage systems capable of channeling water away quickly and efficiently. By building resilience against weather, engineers ensured that the motorway would remain functional throughout the year, no matter the rains. Durability was built into every aspect of the project. Materials were chosen to withstand heavy loads from trucks carrying goods from Tema Harbor. The concrete and asphalt mixes were designed with longevity in mind, ensuring that the motorway could last decades before needing major reconstruction. Crash barriers, reflective markings, and intelligent traffic management systems added another layer of safety, making the motorway one of the most advanced in the sub-region. This modern design was not only about transport convenience, but also about economics. A well-designed motorway has the power to transform an economy. By cutting travel times, reducing vehicle maintenance costs, and improving efficiency, the motorway expansion would generate billions in savings for businesses and households alike. Consider the agricultural sector. For decades, farmers transporting goods from the hinterlands to Accra and Tema faced delays that often resulted in post-harvest losses. Tomatoes, onions, yams, and other perishable goods spoiled as trucks sat in traffic. With the expanded motorway, those delays would be reduced dramatically. Farmers would save money, traders would reduce waste, and consumers would enjoy lower prices and fresher produce. This was not just about a road, it was about strengthening food security and improving livelihoods across Ghana. The industrial sector stood to gain as well. Factories in Tema's industrial enclave, producing everything from cement to steel, depended heavily on the motorway for raw materials and distribution. Every hour saved in transportation translated into greater competitiveness. With the expansion, Ghanaian manufacturers could move products more quickly to Accra's markets and beyond. Exports through Tema Harbor would become smoother, reinforcing Ghana's image as a reliable trade partner in the global marketplace. For logistics and haulage companies, the motorway was a lifeline. Time is money in logistics, and every delay eats into profit margins. The expanded motorway promised faster turnarounds, reduced fuel costs, and better fleet management. These savings would trickle down into the broader economy, lowering the costs of goods and services for ordinary Ghanaians. But perhaps the most transformative impact of the motorway expansion lay in its connection to the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA. With the AfCFTA Secretariat based in Accra, Ghana had a unique responsibility to showcase the power of infrastructure in driving trade integration. The Tema Motorway, as the link between the capital city and the nation's largest port, was central to this mission. By modernising the motorway, Ghana positioned itself as the logistical hub of West Africa, capable of handling increased trade flows, not just for itself, but for neighbouring countries. Landlocked nations, such as Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, depended on Tema Harbor for their imports and exports. Every inefficiency on the motorway translated into higher costs for these countries. By expanding and modernising the motorway, Ghana offered its neighbours a faster, safer, and more reliable trade route. This strengthened Ghana's geopolitical importance and deepened its economic ties with the sub-region. The benefits extended to tourism as well. For many international visitors, the motorway was their first impression of Ghana after landing at Kotoka International Airport and travelling toward Tema or the Volta region. A modern, well-lit and efficient motorway projected the image of a country on the rise. Tourism thrives not only on attractions, but also on infrastructure, and the expanded motorway added to Ghana's appeal as a destination. Job creation was another critical benefit. The construction phase alone employed thousands of Ghanaians, engineers, architects, drivers, artisans, and unskilled labourers. Local suppliers of cement, steel, asphalt, and machinery also benefited, creating a ripple effect across industries. Beyond construction, long-term maintenance contracts guaranteed continued employment, while new businesses emerging around interchanges and service roads promised more opportunities. The motorway expansion thus became a catalyst for inclusive growth, ensuring that its benefits reached households across the socio-economic spectrum. Socially, the motorway expansion represented dignity. For too long, commuters endured dangerous conditions and frustrating delays. Pedestrians risked their lives to cross, and drivers feared breakdowns at night. By addressing these challenges, the expansion restored confidence and pride. Ghanaians could point to the motorway as evidence that their nation was capable of big, transformative projects. In symbolic terms, the motorway became a bridge between Ghana's past and its future. Built in the 1960s as a bold statement of independence and industrial ambition, it had fallen into neglect but was now being renewed to match modern aspirations. In that sense, the motorway told the story of Ghana itself, a nation determined to rise, to correct past mistakes, and to build a prosperous future. The economic ripple effects were already visible even before completion. Land values around the motorway corridor rose as investors anticipated improved access. Real estate developers looked to build housing estates, shopping centres, and business parks near new interchanges. Logistics firms scouted land for warehouses and distribution hubs. Restaurants, fuel stations, and service centres multiplied, catering to the expected surge in traffic. The motorway expansion, therefore, was not just about moving vehicles faster, it was about reshaping the urban and economic geography of Accra and Tema. From an environmental standpoint, the expansion also incorporated sustainability measures. By improving drainage and preventing flooding, it reduced the risk of erosion and damage to surrounding communities. Modern lighting systems were designed to be energy efficient, cutting emissions while improving safety. Landscaping along medians and shoulders added greenery, contributing to Accra's urban environment. Engineers also factored in noise reduction, ensuring that communities along the corridor were protected from excessive sound pollution. Taken together, these features painted a clear picture. The Tema Motorway Expansion was not just an infrastructure project, it was an economic revolution in concrete and asphalt. It connected agriculture to markets, industry to ports, workers to jobs, and Ghana to the wider African continent. It embodied the belief that a single road, when built with vision, could transform a nation's destiny. The Tema Motorway is not only a channel for vehicles and cargo, it is also a channel for social change. Roads connect people, and in connecting people, they shape societies. The expansion of the motorway, therefore, carries profound implications for the daily lives of ordinary Ghanaians, for the structure of communities, and for the urban development of Accra and Tema. For decades, the people of Ghana have endured the hardships of a deteriorating motorway. Families lost loved ones to accidents at unsafe crossing points. Workers spent hours in gridlocked traffic, arriving home late and exhausted. Children living near the corridor grew up in fear of the speeding vehicles and lacked safe passage across the highway. The expansion directly addresses these social realities, offering solutions that are not measured merely in kilometres of asphalt, but in lives improved and protected. Pedestrian bridges, for example, may seem like small additions, but they carry enormous significance. By giving schoolchildren and workers safe crossing points, the motorway expansion reduces needless deaths and injuries. These bridges symbolise dignity for pedestrians, reminding them that their safety matters just as much as the convenience of drivers. For mothers carrying goods to market, for schoolchildren rushing home, for workers hurrying to catch transport, these bridges will transform daily life. Lighting, too, carries a social dimension. For years, the darkness of the motorway at night bred not only accidents, but also fear. Criminal activity flourished in areas where visibility was poor. Drivers often felt vulnerable to robbery or breakdowns in the pitch black of night. By introducing modern streetlights, the expansion restores confidence. The motorway becomes a safe passage after sunset, empowering businesses to operate longer, transport to flow freely, and families to travel without fear. Time savings, another benefit of the expansion, may seem economic on the surface, but they are deeply social. Every hour saved in traffic is an hour gained for family, education, rest, or productivity. For the Ghanaian worker who used to lose 2 hours daily to congestion, the motorway's expansion means reclaiming part of life's most precious resource, time. Over years and decades, those saved hours will translate into healthier families, stronger communities, and a more balanced society. The expansion also supports Ghana's healthcare system indirectly. By reducing accidents through safer road design, it lowers the burden on hospitals and clinics. Fewer accident victims mean resources can be redirected to other pressing health challenges. In this sense, the motorway becomes part of a preventive healthcare strategy, saving both lives and costs. But beyond the immediate social benefits, the motorway expansion must be viewed in the larger context of Ghana's Big Push agenda, a comprehensive drive to transform the nation through massive investment in infrastructure. The Big Push recognises that no economy can thrive without roads, railways, energy, and digital connectivity. Infrastructure is the backbone of industrialisation, and the motorway expansion is a central pillar in that backbone. By connecting Tema Harbor more efficiently to Accra and beyond, the motorway fuels the Big Push industrial strategy. Factories in Tema's industrial enclave can now operate with greater efficiency, knowing their goods will reach markets swiftly. Exporters can rely on predictable timelines, a crucial factor in global trade. Investors scouting for locations see not just a port, but a modern highway that links seamlessly to markets and airports. In this way, the motorway becomes more than a road. It becomes a magnet for investment. The expansion also supports Ghana's vision of becoming the gateway to Africa. With AfCFTA headquartered in Accra, Ghana is uniquely positioned to lead the continent in trade integration. But leadership requires infrastructure. The motorway is the artery through which Ghana's gateway functions flow. Every improvement in its capacity strengthens Ghana's case as the continent's logistics hub. The Big Push agenda envisions industrial zones, export processing hubs, and logistics centres around Tema and Accra, all of which depend on the motorway for connectivity. Urban development is another frontier reshaped by the expansion. Accra, a city of more than 5 million people, continues to sprawl outward. Tema, built as a planned industrial city in the 1960s, is now merging with the capital in both form and function. The motorway is the spine of this urban integration. By modernising the motorway, the government is effectively modernising the corridor that links two of Ghana's most important cities. Interchanges along the motorway will not only manage traffic, but also become catalysts for new urban hubs. Around these interchanges, developers are already eyeing opportunities for residential estates, shopping malls, business parks, and hotels. Land values along the corridor have surged in anticipation of the expansion's completion. What was once a simple drive between Tema and Accra is now becoming a corridor of economic and urban growth. This transformation carries profound implications for ordinary citizens. As new estates rise, more Ghanaians will find housing opportunities within reach of the motorway. As businesses cluster near interchanges, jobs will come closer to communities. As commercial centres emerge, services such as healthcare, education, and retail will become more accessible. The motorway expansion, therefore, is not just a transport project, but a city-shaping force. Accra's modernisation cannot be imagined without the motorway. Its skyline may be defined by high-rise buildings, shopping centres, and interchanges, but the flow of life depends on mobility. Without roads, urban development stagnates. The expansion ensures that Accra and Tema can grow in harmony, supported by infrastructure that can handle future demands. For Tema itself, the motorway expansion breathes new life into Nkrumah's dream of an industrial hub. The city was originally conceived as a model of African modernity, with an industrial enclave, modern harbour, and residential estates. Over the years, the dream was partly realised, but also hampered by infrastructural decay. The motorway expansion reactivates this vision, aligning Tema once more with its destiny as Ghana's industrial capital. Factories can operate with renewed efficiency, and logistics firms can thrive, making Tema competitive on a continental scale. The motorway also plays a role in Ghana's environmental planning. By reducing congestion, it lowers vehicle emissions, contributing to cleaner air in Accra and Tema. Better drainage systems protect surrounding communities from flooding. Landscaping and urban greening along the corridor improve the urban environment, offering a balance between infrastructure and ecology. In this way, the expansion supports Ghana's commitment to sustainable development. Most importantly, the motorway expansion strengthens the sense of national pride. For decades, Ghanaians saw the motorway as a decaying relic of past glory. Now, they see it being reborn, stronger, and more modern than ever. This psychological shift matters. When citizens see tangible progress in infrastructure, their confidence in national development deepens. They begin to believe that their country is capable of achieving greatness. This renewed confidence fuels civic engagement, national unity, and collective ambition. As the expansion continues, Ghanaians watch not only with hope but also with expectation. They expect that this project will not be abandoned halfway, as so many others have been in the past. They expect that promises of safety, efficiency, and modernisation will be fulfilled, and they expect that the motorway will serve not just this generation but generations to come. The government's commitment to meeting these expectations is what will ultimately define the legacy of the project. The Tema Motorway Expansion, therefore, is both a practical and symbolic achievement. Practically, it delivers social benefits in safety, time savings, and economic opportunity. Strategically, it aligns with the Big Push agenda to industrialise and modernise Ghana. Urbanistically, it reshapes the geography of Accra and Tema, creating a corridor of growth. Symbolically, it restores pride, confidence, and a sense of national purpose. In the story of Ghana's development, the motorway is not just concrete and asphalt. It is an expression of vision. From Nkrumah's original dream to Akufo-Addo's expansion plan, it reflects the nation's journey, a journey of ambition, struggle, renewal, and hope. And in the years to come, as Ghanaians travel faster and safer along its lanes, as goods flow smoothly to and from the harbour, as cities expand and economies grow, the motorway will stand as proof that infrastructure can change lives. The Tema Motorway has always been more than a road. It has been a barometer of Ghana's ambitions, reflecting the nation's determination to rise, its challenges in sustaining progress, and its ability to renew itself for future generations. As the expansion project advances, the motorway is set to redefine Ghana's place, not only within its borders, but also across the West African sub-region. Its impact will echo in the economy, society, and collective memory of the people. The future outlook for the motorway is rooted in the principle of sustainability. In the past, Ghana often struggled with maintenance, leading to the rapid deterioration of even the most ambitious projects. This time, the design of the expansion incorporates long-term maintenance strategies, financing mechanisms, and technological innovations that ensure the motorway will not only be built, but will endure. Regular monitoring systems, intelligent traffic controls, and a structured maintenance framework will protect the road from falling back into decline. The motorway is envisioned as a living asset, one that evolves with the nation rather than collapsing under its weight. The expansion positions Ghana to play a central role in regional trade integration. West Africa is a region of immense economic potential, but its progress has often been hampered by poor infrastructure. The Tema Motorway directly addresses this by linking one of the busiest ports in the region to the capital city and beyond. With the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, headquartered in Accra, Ghana becomes the natural hub for cross-border trade. The motorway, therefore, is not just a national asset, but a regional artery that strengthens ECOWAS and AfCFTA ambitions. Neighbouring landlocked countries, Burkina Faso, Niger and Mali, depend heavily on Tema Harbor for their imports and exports. Every improvement on the motorway enhances their access to global trade, reducing costs and timelines. By serving these nations more efficiently, Ghana strengthens its geopolitical influence and deepens its economic partnerships. The motorway becomes a tool of diplomacy, fostering cooperation through commerce. The ripple effects extend beyond trade to transport corridors. The motorway connects to the Accra-Aflao corridor toward Togo, the Accra-Kumasi Highway toward the Ashanti region and northern Ghana, and the coastal roads linking Côte d'Ivoire. With these connections, Ghana positions itself as a strategic pivot for West African logistics. For investors considering supply chains, this connectivity makes Ghana a natural choice for regional headquarters, manufacturing plants, and logistics hubs. Looking ahead, the motorway expansion aligns with Ghana's ambition to build a modern transport ecosystem. Roads are only one part of this ecosystem, but they serve as its foundation. The expanded motorway will complement other initiatives, such as the modernisation of Tema Harbor, the development of new railways linking the port to the hinterlands, and improvements at Kotoka International Airport. Together, these projects form an integrated system that elevates Ghana's logistical capacity. The motorway also plays a crucial role in urban planning for the future. As Accra and Tema continue to expand, the corridor between them is evolving into a continuous urban belt. The motorway is the spine of this belt, shaping how communities grow, how businesses cluster, and how people move. Interchanges along the expanded road will become focal points for new development, leading to the rise of satellite towns, business districts, and residential estates. This urban transformation will redefine the Greater Accra region, turning it into a modern metropolitan hub comparable to leading cities in Africa. The generational benefits of the motorway expansion cannot be overstated. For today's commuters, it means shorter journeys, fewer accidents, and greater safety. For businesses, it means efficiency, lower costs, and competitiveness. For farmers, it means faster access to markets and reduced post-harvest losses. For the youth, it means jobs during construction and opportunities in the industries that the motorway will attract. For future generations, it means inheriting a road system that supports growth rather than stifles it. This project also reaffirms a timeless truth. Infrastructure is destiny. Nations rise or fall on the strength of their infrastructure. By choosing to expand and modernise the motorway, Ghana is choosing growth, competitiveness, and resilience. The motorway becomes not just a piece of transport infrastructure, but a pillar of national strategy. It is tied directly to the government's goals for industrialisation, agricultural modernisation, digital trade, and global integration. The motorway expansion also carries a psychological and symbolic legacy. For decades, the crumbling state of the old road was a source of frustration and despair. It symbolised neglect, inefficiency, and unfulfilled potential. The expansion reverses that symbolism. It represents renewal, determination, and progress. It tells Ghanaians that their country is capable of tackling big challenges and delivering solutions that match global standards. In doing so, it restores faith in national development. The legacy of former President Nana Addo, Dankwa Akufo-Addo, will forever be tied to this decision. By prioritising the expansion under his administration, he aligned his leadership with a project that touches every Ghanaian and positions the nation for future prosperity. Just as Nkrumah is remembered for building the original motorway as part of his industrial vision, Akufo-Addo will be remembered for ensuring that the motorway was not left to decay, but was reborn for the 21st century. This continuity of vision across generations strengthens Ghana's national narrative of resilience and progress. On a continental scale, the motorway stands as a symbol of Africa's potential. Too often, Africa is described in terms of problems: poverty, underdevelopment, instability. The Tema Motorway Expansion offers a counter-narrative. It shows that African nations can design, finance, and execute projects of global standards. It demonstrates that Africa is not waiting for the future, but building it. For other countries in the region, it serves as an example of what is possible when vision, political will, and partnership converge. For the youth of Ghana, the motorway expansion is particularly significant. They are the generation that will inherit the fruits of AfCFTA, digital trade, and industrialization. The expanded motorway ensures that their dreams will not be hindered by outdated infrastructure. It gives them a platform to compete globally, to innovate, and to connect. For a young entrepreneur in Tema, it means products can reach markets in Accra and beyond swiftly. For a student in Accra, it means easier access to industrial internships in Tema. For a logistics startup, it means building solutions on top of a reliable road network. The motorway is not just a highway. It is an enabler of youthful ambition. The motorway also strengthens Ghana's resilience against global shocks. In times of global crises, whether pandemics, food shortages, or supply chain disruptions, nations with strong infrastructure recover faster. By expanding the motorway, Ghana builds a buffer against such shocks. Goods move more reliably, services adapt more quickly, and the economy remains competitive even in turbulent times. This resilience is invaluable in a world defined by uncertainty. Ultimately, the Tema Motorway Expansion is about legacy and destiny. It honours the vision of Nkrumah, renews the leadership of Akufo-Addo, and serves the aspirations of future generations. It is a story of a nation refusing to let its past achievements crumble into relics, but instead renewing them as pillars of the future. The motorway becomes both a memory and a promise. A memory of Ghana's bold steps in the 1960s, and a promise of its bold steps in the decades to come. As traffic flows smoothly along the expanded lanes, as lights illuminate the night, as interchanges buzz with activity, Ghanaians will look at the motorway and see more than a road. They will see themselves, a people determined to rise, a nation unafraid to dream, and a country that knows its road to tomorrow must be built today. The Tema Motorway tells the story of Ghana in concrete and asphalt. It was born out of vision, struggled under neglect, and is now being reborn through determination. It has carried the hopes of generations. From Nkrumah's dream of industrial modernity to Akufo-Addo's expansion agenda for a 21st century Ghana. Its journey mirrors the nation's own: bold beginnings, difficult challenges, and an unyielding belief in renewal. As the expansion project nears completion, the motorway stands not simply as a road, but as a statement of intent. It tells the world that Ghana is not content with yesterday's achievements. It is building today for tomorrow. It signals that Ghana is ready to lead in trade, industry, and continental integration. It proves that infrastructure is not an afterthought, but the foundation upon which economies rise and societies flourish. The motorway's new interchanges, expanded lanes, pedestrian bridges, and modern lighting are more than engineering achievements. They are symbols of progress, safety, and dignity. Every barrier erected to prevent accidents, every kilometre of smooth surface that reduces travel time, every light that banishes nighttime danger, all of it adds up to a future where Ghanaians can travel with confidence and pride. The project also marks continuity between past and present. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah laid the foundation with his bold vision of Tema as an industrial city, linked to Accra by a modern highway. 6 decades later, Nana Addo, Dankwa, Akufo-Addo and the MPP government have ensured that vision does not fade but flourishes. The expansion pays tribute to Nkrumah's dream while aligning with the realities of today: regional trade, AfCFTA, industrialization and urban growth. Its benefits will outlive its builders. The farmers whose produce will reach markets faster, the businesses that will cut costs, the commuters who will reclaim precious time, the students and workers who will cross safely. These are the true inheritors of the motorway's transformation. For them, the project is not abstract policy, but daily reality. Beyond borders, the motorway cements Ghana's role as a regional trade hub. With Tema Harbor serving as the lifeline for landlocked neighbours, the expanded motorway ensures Ghana's leadership in West African logistics. It binds economies together, strengthens cooperation, and enhances Ghana's soft power across the region. In a world where connectivity defines competitiveness, the motorway positions Ghana at the very heart of African trade. Looking ahead, the motorway story reminds us of an enduring truth. Infrastructure is not just about roads and bridges. It is about people and possibilities. The Tema Motorway Expansion is about dignity for pedestrians, efficiency for businesses, safety for families, and opportunity for generations. It is about honouring the past, serving the present, and securing the future. For Ghanaians, the motorway is a source of pride. For Africa, it is a model of what is possible. For the world, it is proof that Ghana is moving forward with vision and purpose. The road to Ghana's future runs through Tema. From port to capital, from factory to market, from vision to reality, the motorway is more than a line on a map. It is a living legacy, a road that carries not just cars and cargo, but the hopes, dreams, and destiny of a nation determined to rise. The Tema Motorway Expansion is a promise kept, a future secured, and a legacy written in concrete for generations, yet unborn. It is not just the road to Tema. It is the road to tomorrow. Ghana is building for the future. The Tema Motorway Expansion is not just a project. It's a revolution in transport, trade, and national pride. If you believe Ghana's infrastructure is paving the way for Africa's transformation, hit the like button. Checkmark. Drop a comment and share your thoughts on how this project will shape Ghana's future. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories on Ghana's mega projects, infrastructure, and economic rise. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update on Ghana's road to prosperity.
you.